From Atlanta,
120 days since our last lens flare incident.
it's the 9 Billion Names of Pod with Dan Bauman and Michael Reed. I'm Dan Bauman.
I'm against giving my girlfriend radioactive jewelry. That's just me.
So, let's talk about some stuff.
We can do that.
We are going beyond. Not above and beyond, but just beyond, because we're going to spoil the hell out of Star Trek Beyond.
Right. We go, yeah. Today we're going, yeah, plus a little further to beyond.
Yes, beyond the beyond.
So spoilers.
Spoilers, yes. Spoilers, if you haven't figured it out, yes.
It's been open, what, a couple weeks now?
Few weeks. So if you haven't seen it yet, it's on you. You know, this isn't like Suicide Squad or Ghostbusters where we saw it day of or second day.
Opening weekend,
and then dropped it on Tuesday.
We gave you some time.
Yes. Yeah, this one. So where do you fall on the whole Star Trek thing? Like
as far as
your level of interest / commitment / fandom there of Trek.
I will watch anything they put out.
Okay.
And not with the same, like, oh my God, I cannot wait, like with Star Wars stuff. But there's a much larger Star Trek universe than Star Wars universe.
In what regard?
Films, TV shows.
True. Yes, content. Right.
Content,
as
far as content goes. And of course, they had about a decade and a half head start, roughly 2-decade head start.
Not 2, but close.
Yeah, about 15 years. So, well, of course, a lot of that was just dead time where, they did 3 seasons and then kind of laid fallow for about a decade until, the reruns are doing well. Maybe we should greenlight more Star Trek.
Well, evidently, Shatner was at something and he said, I don't know if it was recently, but I read a thing where he said that Star Trek, the motion picture, happened because of
Star Wars.
Star Wars.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, we've covered this in the previous podcast, but they were ready to go back and do the series. They were just going to pick up the series again.
That's right.
And then, I don't know, whatever happened, and they ended up doing a very, very boring film. I mean, it was good seeing them. It was good seeing them back on the screen, but... And I like the reveal at the end. Oh, that's clever.
That's clever.
But it didn't make
That's a long road to get there.
There's a lot of... the entire pacing of that film goes against everything that was the television show.
Yes.
The aesthetic was 100% different, and that's not necessarily a bad thing, but they went from dun 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 dun, to...
Yeah, long sweeping beauty shots of the matte paintings of the Enterprise.
Right, exactly. The nebula and the creature, and like, that's I wasn't down with that.
Yeah, because I'm increasingly, as these movies come out, I realize I'm just not that into Trek that much at all. I don't know if it's
it doesn't capture your imagination the way that Star Wars
not
does.
At all,
and same here.
Well, you and I were, our molecules were rearranged when we saw Star Trek. Star Wars, I'm sorry. We were right in that, we were the perfect
in the
age.
sweet spot. Well, exactly.
It was our mythology.
And here I am going to make a reference to St. Elmo's Fire.
Drink.
So I saw that at a point when I was very receptive to it and hadn't, matured enough, so it locked in at that age where I can watch it now and go, I love this film even though I know it's not that great. Same thing with Star Wars. If Star Wars had come out 4 years later, we would have been already into rock music and girls, but whatever. It captured us right at that time.
It was the perfect timing,
and that's it. It rearranged the DNA, locked it in, and now When Lucas announced there was going to be prequels, oh my God.
Of course.
Plotzed.
Right.
I totally plotzed.
But when
then I saw them, and I plotzed again for an entirely different reason.
And then, but when J.J. Abrams said he was redoing Star Trek, it was like,
I was like, okay, they've run the course with the original cast, the
Right.
Next Generation cast.
Well,
There's not going to be a Deep Space Nine Voyager film, apparently.
No, well, here's the thing. I was not an original series fan at all. Like, I remember as a kid watching the reruns.
Oh, of course, me too.
You know,
and I still enjoy them.
I kind of didn't get it, and it was fine. And I think it was, this isn't Star Wars, so I don't care kind of thing. Really, I'm not kidding. Well, I've told you, not to aside, but I've told you my bitter disappointment every time a 20th Century Fox movie came on, because
Right.
I thought that was the beginning of Star Wars.
And for my money, it still is. And
Yeah.
that was a problem for me with The Force Awakens. I knew they wouldn't do it.
No.
Because why? 20th Century Fox had nothing to do with
Other
that
than
film.
nostalgia, really.
Exactly. So, but I haven't looked on, BitTorrent or on the internet, but I'm sure there's a version out there. It's like, here's the exact same thing that you can get on DVD. We just tacked on the 20 seconds of the fanfare at the beginning.
Right. Well, from what I understand, at the one of the screenings, they were talking about this on. I think it was at the Alamo Drafthouse in Austin.
Which we need in Atlanta. Please come and do
Yes,
one
please.
here.
There's one in New York, from what I understand now, but
I'm sorry. Is that Atlanta, Dan?
no.
No.
But you would think they before they tackled New York, they would go for. But anyway, from what one of the screenings or the first midnight screening of Force Awakens.
Did they sing it?
No, they hired a marching band to come in and play it. So,
I love it.
But going back to Trek,
Now that's nerd service.
Oh yeah, well
that is nerd service.
Yeah, the Alamo Drafthouse is a very nerd mecha-y kind of place. But I was not a fan of the original series at all. But I watched probably every episode of Next Generation. I was kind of in the right head at that time when that came out, because that was like early '90s, and I was
2-3 years old.
Yeah,
sure.
20. Yeah, and that hit me. I was like, I like this. This is cool, and it took its time to get
Right.
to get
Even though the
grooving.
first series, the first season of Next Generation was a little clunky. They hadn't
First
quite
two
found-
were clunky, and then 3 is when it went boom. 3 is when they figured it out.
And of course, I still drink every time someone says, "Shut up, Wesley."
Yeah, he hates that. By the way,
Are you talking about Will Wheaton?
Wheaton,
Will
yes.
Wheaton?
So I watched was that Deep Space Nine? I watched a good chunk of that. I kind of fell off near the end.
Exactly the same here. I kept with it until I was like, so basically it's just the story of the week when it's a good setup.
Yeah,
and
good characers and good
and
good captain,
Quark and
Ferengi.
No, what's it wasn't Riches. It was it Profits? What was his catchphrase?
Oh, it was Gold Press Latinum.
Gold Press Latinum, but it's like the mantra.
Oh, I don't remember.
Of
I'll have
the
to think,
Ferengi
yeah,
was
yeah.
enrichment or
Something like
money
that.
or anyway.
And same thing with Enterprise. Not Enterprise, the other one. Voyager. Yeah.
Never watched a single episode. Not even Jerry Ryan apparently trying to add sex appeal to the series.
Yeah, and she
got me.
came in way late.
She
came
wasn't
in,
part of the original.
like season 3 or 4.
I think that was probably like, our ratings are going down. Hey, let's sex it up a bit.
Yeah, and
With a hot cyborg girl.
And from what I understand, this is again another aside. I've heard interviews with her, and she said certain cast members, like she never said the captain, made her life miserable because
she was the pretty girl?
Because she pulled focus and became like the center of the show, and the captain thereof was no longer, because it was the first female captain.
Absolutely.
Captain Janeway.
By the way, the new Star Trek Discovery is going to have a female lead.
Yes.
I haven't heard anything more beyond that. I'm like, good.
I think, was it Brian Fuller? I think released a whole bunch of shit today. As a matter of fact,
I haven't.
Yeah,
seen it.
I saw an article today where they said it's going to have something in, some Janeway tie-in, or just, I think it's going to be a female lead or something.
Good.
And it's a great.
Why
so,
not?
but same thing with Voyager. I watched, first couple seasons and it was cool, and then I bailed out for a while and then watched the finale. And the finale was good. Basic, they get home kind of deal.
Hey, don't say anything.
Spoilers.
I might get to it sometime in my 70s or 80s when I finally catch up with all the film, music, television, books.
Yeah, you won't. They get home. It's okay. But
that's okay. I'll be senile by then. I will have forgotten this conversation.
That's right.
I can watch all my old favorite shows again. They'll
all
be just like
again.
new. Like, have you seen this Breaking Bad? It's very good.
You'll have to tattoo yourself like Memento.
Exactly.
So
Here are the
Breaking
shows.
Bad, Star Wars,
Here are the
Doctor
shows that
Who.
you've watched. You've watched this.
Didn't watch Enterprise at all.
I watched the first episode, and I got to tell you, I was so put off by the obvious sexing up of having him decontaminate shower with a hot, sexy Vulcan. Yeah. I just went, if that's what this show's going to be, fuck it. And I just stopped. Now, I know that was a knee-jerk reaction, but at that point, I was well into my mantra of, you got one episode to hook me, and then I may come back to it if it hangs around and everyone says it's good, but I don't have the time. If I watched every show that I had even a vague interest in and stuck with it, I would have to invent a time machine.
Oh, yeah, there's just not enough time.
There's just not enough. So I get brutal with the new fall TV season and with old shows where I'm like, that's the last thing to get cleared off the DVR. I'm not even going to start it this year. I just don't care anymore.
Yeah, I love Scott Bakula. I think he's great, but I didn't care. I heard it wasn't great, and what did it do? 2 seasons? Maybe 3?
I don't know.
Yeah, something.
Again,
it didn't.
Don't care.
It didn't go very long. So,
but we're talking beyond all this.
Beyond, yes. Well, going to the JJ era. What did you think of that first movie?
Oh, fucking loved it.
Did you?
I thought it was a great reimagining. I understood why they had to go a different timeline because the existing timeline was played out.
Oh yeah,
they had just played.
You couldn't do any more with it, and they were all getting up there.
Right,
exactly.
exactly.
All in their 60s.
I mean, yes. I mean, where's Patrick Stewart's crossover into this next? I wouldn't mind seeing that. That would be interesting. But they'd have to do it in a natural, organic way, much like they did when they had. How are we going to have Kirk and Picard in the same episode without time travel? Nope, no time travel. Like, how are they going to do that? Mm-hmm. And then they did it, and I'm thinking, nice. That was very inventive. Little golf clap for you.
Yeah,
well done. And you killed off Kirk, and then Shatner wouldn't shut the fuck
up. I liked it. The first JJ one. I think it is good. I mean, the casting is really good, but it's just not
my biggest complaint about the first one. Not enough lens flares.
Yes,
I mean there were certain scenes where there wasn't even one lens flare.
Yeah, you could actually see the ship.
I know.
I
mean, half that film is like watching it after you've had a good cry. It's like your eyes are like you're squinting and like what's going on. Yeah,
I was almost put off by it because of the way they tapped in. And I was like, so did they negate the whole other series?
No, it's in its own timeline. It exists parallel. I mean, it's the same.
Obviously, yes.
It's the same thing as when DC or Marvel resets or go to another dimension or Earth 1, Earth 2, or 3. This is Star Trek Reality 1, 2, 3.
Right,
and they're just in Star Trek Reality 2.
Yes.
So basically everything aside from the JJ, reboot and forward is all in Star Trek Universe 1, and now we're in Star Trek Universe 2.
Right.
Who knows? Discovery may take place in Star Trek Universe 2. We don't know.
That's a good point. Which interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So we have 2 established timelines now.
Right.
So I'm all, remember we have Vulcan in one, we have no Vulcan in the other.
That's right. Isn't that like the opening of the movie, doesn't it? Or no, that's one.
No, that's later on.
That's later on.
That's later on.
No, that's that's like Star Trek 4, I think, where Klingon blows up, or Klingon Prime. One of the original series movies. The opening scene, it's like credits, planet, kablam.
But that wasn't Vulcan.
No, it wasn't Vulcan. I think it was Klingon or Romulus. I can't remember which one it was. It was one of the other ones, but
something like that.
But they do, yeah.
Oh no! It was in the second timeline. It was I think it was a Romulan that was pissed off at Spock because he
No, I'm talking about one of the old movies.
In the old films.
Yeah,
Oh.
it's one of them.
You know what? After the fourth original cast film, I just stopped caring.
Yeah, it's
I've
4
seen
or
them all.
5.
I've seen 4 is The Voyage Home, so it's not 4.
Okay, then it's 5.
Has to be 5.
Yeah.
I think they went to 7 on the old one. I think
Yeah.
5 or maybe 6. I can't remember. But I've seen them all, and I just remember going,
Yeah.
I mean, these are octogenarians, and who the hell is still going around? I can understand, Kirk pushing papers at a desk at Starfleet,
Right.
but going off in the universe when he could break a hip. I'm sorry.
Well, sitting in the chair is fine, but going on the away missions is always the.
Well, that was always.
That's what I mean.
That
yeah.
goes back to the first. I mean, what kind of military outfit is
What's the
all right,
captain?
there's a horrible thing going on down there. We don't know what it is. Quick, send the admiral and the chief of staff and the defense secretary. Send the president down there.
Yeah, send the president,
because
the
that's
vice
how away
president.
teams work. It's like give the navigator of the ship the command while you send down your top 3 bridge crew.
Right.
No.
And one expendable red shirt. Yeah.
Of course. Yeah. Of course. So what are your thoughts on Beyond?
Beyond. Well, here's the second JJ reboot. I didn't think was very good.
Into Darkness?
Into Darkness.
That was a big fucking mess.
I thought it was a mess. I thought it was really funny because the moment that they announced that Benedict Cumberbatch was
Khan.
Well, they announced
everyone knew it was Khan.
Yeah, they announced that he was cast. That everyone said, "Oh, he's Khan." And they're like, "No, he's no, he's not. No, he's not Khan at all."
Yeah, there's this showrunner. He works for Doctor Who. His name is Stephen Moffat. When it comes to bluffing and bullshitting, you need a course from him.
Yes.
Because we saw through your bullshit immediately.
Yeah.
Him, we don't know. Sometimes we're like, I think he's... No.
Well, rule number 1, the Moffat lies. I mean,
Right,
that's
right,
it. I mean,
right.
you can't huff and puff and bluff your way through it. You just go own it or fucking...
Yeah. And of course, obviously if the Enterprise is sealed for air travel, for space travel against the vacuum of space, obviously it can go underwater. I get that. But then water kind of gets into,
Yeah.
that was a little like, okay, we know you want to have that great shot, like, oh my gosh, we're trapped. Where's the Enterprise? It's coming out of the water. Yeah. Oh, what a great shot.
Cool
but it
reveal,
brings up
good
a lot
shot.
of, yeah. I mean, it wasn't a horrible film. It just was,
if you're gonna do
The Wrath of Khan is such a good fucking movie.
Right. If you're gonna do Wrath of Khan, do Wrath of Khan. Do it. Don't tiptoe around it. Don't change the ending thing. Which I get.
keep in mind, Star Trek Universe 2, things happen, but not the way they happened in the first
Right.
one. And I understand they didn't want to do an exact remake. I get that. I understand that.
But then don't do Khan. I don't know. It bugged me.
Well, then don't do Kirk. Don't do any of the Enterprise.
Yeah,
I mean,
true.
These people, villains and heroes alike, exist in this second universe, and things don't happen the same way they did in the first. So
Yeah, the one thing I did like in that movie was talking to Spock Prime, to the original Spock, and him saying, Khan was the most dangerous person we ever encountered. And I was like, okay, cool. They're actually bridging the gap.
Right. And then Spock Prime says, "See, here's his picture." And second universe, oh, that's not. Hold it. No, that's a different person.
No.
Like, what? Yeah, our guy had skin like, I don't know, rich Corinthian leather. And this guy.
And a handle on his chest.
Yeah, exactly.
So
talk about earworms.
On to Beyond.
On to Beyond.
Tell me, what do you think? What did you think?
I enjoyed it.
Mm-hmm.
I like the concept of the swarm. That is not something we have seen that I can recall ever.
Not to that degree.
Right. And that's an ingenious plan because, they're so small they're evading our turbo lasers.
Yes.
Well, just add that you could
add
blow
a hive mind to that.
Exactly. You can blow up a big ship, but what if the ship is basically comprised of essentially, 10,000 nanobots?
Yeah.
You can shoot any number of them, but they're all going to just swarm together. And the way they were able to shear off the nacelles and separate that is actually quite innovative.
It is.
And the way they embed themselves in the ship and they open up like a reverse face hugger from Alien. Which, by the way, that one alien chick, when she was hiding the weapon, I'm like, hey, she's got a face hugger on her skull. It just opened up,
It's a good place, good hiding place, though.
That's no one's like, hey, let me rummage around in your face,
In your head, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
The first thing that really bugged me,
Yeah.
was, like I said, I've seen all the original freaking movies.
Right.
Again, they do like 7 of them, I want to say.
6 or
They
7.
destroyed the Enterprise, I think, 3 times.
Hey, but we haven't had an Enterprise destroyed in this new universe yet, and this is the first one.
Right, and that just bugged me. It's like, it's been done, I mean, luckily, it was done well early in the film. It wasn't, the
right. This isn't
the
like
sacrifice at the end.
Right. This wasn't like the third act, big plot point. Like, oh my gosh, we're gonna have to sacrifice the Enterprise.
Right, we're gonna have to
it's more like
self-destruct.
we're getting attacked. We're fucked.
Yeah, they just got fucked. Is really all it was.
Yeah.
The swarm just
and that's fine. That's good. I mean, yes, it's been done before, but
right.
it is what it is. Usually I would like to think, and I don't know if they never really explained it in the original series, if I'm not mistaken. But in Next Generation, they had families on board.
Oh, yeah.
If you're going into deep space, maybe not take families.
Yeah.
You don't have to arm it with like 10,000 soldiers ready to kick ass, but I don't know. Maybe not, get families on board with kids. I'm just saying, if you're on a 5-year mission into uncharted territory, don't bring the kids.
Yeah.
Don't that's just me. I don't know if that's...
Well, that was kind of the thing in the Next Generation. It's like, we're not as much of a military...
I think that was more like, they were more like investigation, scientific. Yeah. I mean, I still had a problem with that. If you're going into uncharted territory, I got the sense that in Next Generation, the universe, at least of Federation territory, was pretty well mapped out, and they were just, putting out little fires here and there, and it was kind of chill-ish. Now, in Star Trek Universe 2, I'd like to think that it's just Starfleet officers doing science and diplomacy. And
at this point, yes, I believe it would be.
And not, like, have families, because... You saw what happened. People getting sucked out into space when you're
a whole lot of them.
When your shit done blowed up, kind of messes with your head.
Yeah. The second thing that kind of bugged me is, what do you have to do to the freaking Enterprise to make it not work? I mean, you ripped it into pieces and power still worked. I was like, well, how is it?
I'd like to think that technology has gotten so good that there are redundant upon redundant systems. Remember, you're in the vacuum of space.
Yeah.
You don't just have a main system and a backup.
You're right.
And remember, they said that all the, they have the same kind of bulkhead seal off like ships do.
Yes.
So if there's a hull breach on deck level 7, 1 through 6 is fine, and also 8 through whenever, because of they
close them off.
Yeah. Exactly. So I'm guessing there are probably redundancies upon redundancies.
I can get behind it, but it was like, geez, what do you need to do to this thing to destroy it?
Well, he's like, Scott's like, sorry, Captain, we're totally fucked. All right, end of the film. I guess we're going to die on this planet.
Yeah. And die in the fiery crash.
Yeah, exactly. So, well, remember, I think in the first time we had a really awesome saucer scrape, I call it, just when the saucer comes down. It wasn't until Next Generation, because they destroyed a couple Enterprises in the original one, but I don't think they had that saucer come down and just like scrape the landscape. And they did it on this one.
In the Enterprise D in Next Generation, they were able to actually manually separate.
Yeah, and they did it on
many occasions.
So
but in one of the, I think it was one of the Next Generation movies where the saucer actually like skimmed, bang, bang, bang.
And of course, in this plan, it's like, why did it have to be rock formations everywhere? Son of a bitch!
Right.
What else? What other bones hath thou to pick?
A lot of it, I don't know. I think I'm just too, like I said, it's just not so much my thing.
You're such a Star Wars whore.
I am, and I can't get over it. It just, I don't know. Like, a lot of it seemed like, all right, that guy's doing a bad Scottish accent, and that guy's doing a bad Russian accent, and that guy's doing a bad American accent. And
I think Anton Yelchin actually is.
He is Russian, but he didn't have an accent like that. I don't believe so.
Oh, okay,
no. And I mean,
how nice was it at the end? They gave props both to Leonard and to Anton Yelchin.
And I think you could tell because it was a break. I mean, because that film had all been locked by that point.
Oh, yeah.
So they must have busted it open and said, we're going to add black and we're going to put this scene in.
Right. Yelchin died after...
Just
or during
weeks before the movie was out.
But Nimoy had died well previous to that, so his little hat tip... Well, obviously, it's in the film.
It's in the film.
They killed Spock Prime,
right?
So that must have gotten written in. Because you could have taken out all the Spock Prime stuff and gave Spock,
Nimoy.
No.
Killed
exactly. Off Spock Prime and gave this timeline Spock another reason for maybe wanting to leave Starfleet.
Yeah.
And I think after Nimoy died, they said, we need to put a button on
and
Spock Prime's
they may have written that as well, because he was like, Nimoy had kept saying he's retired.
Right.
So they may have just written that in, too. That just kind of
But they kept bringing him back, because he was, can't remember his first name, but Bell in Fringe.
Yes.
And they coaxed him back, but they had to make it an animated episode, because it was only his voice. He said, I'm done.
He did a voice on Big Bang Theory as well.
Did. Yeah.
But he wasn't...
do you remember the name of his character on Big Bang Theory?
Well, he did the voice of a Spock figure.
And the name of that character?
No.
Tiny Spock.
Oh,
don't you remember Tiny Spock?
Yeah.
There you go. It's Tiny Spock. That's about the one U.S. sitcom on broadcast television that I still watch. Nobody seems to think it's good. I think it's fine.
It's fine.
It's fine. It's lowbrow and stupid in places, but it's a little.
But they touch on the geek stuff.
It's
a little
smart
bit.
in other places.
Yeah, I mean they have actual physicists on it. Neil deGrasse Tyson and such and such.
And and Kara Thray shows up in your bathtub.
And she hadn't in a while, but absolutely. So the whole Spock thing. I liked that storyline. I like the characters. I don't know. I'm really torn about the whole thing.
It's like it's kind of like how I quote unquote enjoyed Suicide Squad. It was a fun ride,
right?
But I didn't have any real emotional investment in it.
Got it. Yeah.
And that's kind of how it is with me with this and the last Star Trek. Now the first Star Trek, I fucking cheered for that. I just thought it was fucking genius because it was all new, and you're like, there's the reference to the old, and there's the old, and there's the reference, and there's the ref. Now they've kind of gone away from that, as they should.
Yeah.
And you still get little flavors of it, mostly in the Bones and Spock relationship, because that's he does the best DeForest Kelley impersonation of anybody. I mean, really, it's flawless.
Yeah, what did you think? Did you think a lot of the jokes landed? Some of them I thought kind of didn't.
Some of them were a little forced, but for the most part, it was an okay mix of.
Well, and also I'll preface this by saying we saw it in a theater at 4:40 in the afternoon.
Oh no! By the time it was supposed to start at 4:40, by the time the previews ended, it was about 7 o'clock. Yeah,
yeah. But I mean, it was
like maybe I'm going to be very generous. 10 other people, probably closer to about 6.
Yeah, so there was no energy in the room. So
although the guy behind us, he chuckled out loud a number of times.
Yeah, he was a real hardcore Star Trek fan because he was getting. I was like, that's a reference. There was a bunch of jokes. There was a bunch of things that I heard that I was like, that's a reference. Right. That's a reference.
And I'm glad that Simon Pegg and I can't remember the other person's name. I think his last name was Dung.
No, it was Doug Young or something.
Whatever it is.
Yeah.
I was concerned that maybe Star Trek Beyond was going to be more like, for lack of a better reference, The Voyage Home, where every other line was comedy.
Yeah.
I mean, let's face it. Star Trek 4 bears some of the DNA of Superman 3, the one with Richard Pryor.
Some
in the sense that
it works better though.
The comedy was played up quite a bit more than in other other editions of Superman or Star Trek. Mm-hmm. Although we can all agree that Superman 3 was mostly a huge piece of shit.
Yeah.
but it had its moments. But Star Trek 4, I thought it was great.
Oh, absolutely. It worked very well, and it was.
That's
kind
my
of
favorite
fun.
after Wrath of Khan.
Yeah, it's fun to. Well, they always say the even-numbered Star Trek movies are the best. The odd ones just didn't fly.
Yeah, that's about right.
But yeah, Star Trek 4, it worked. I don't know. Some of the jokes just seem a little forced to me, and trying a little too hard.
It was okay.
It
was okay. It didn't bother me too much. It's Simon Pegg. You're gonna get a few yucks in.
Yeah, and I mean, I can't not love Simon Pegg. I mean, you can't. He's just
it's impossible.
It's impossible. And
he's starting to. He's not the boyish lad anymore. He's getting up there.
Yeah,
he's getting up there. That was the first time I noticed. Like, wow, he's got a few years under his belt now.
Yeah,
but he's not the chubby lad who did. The zombie film. What was it?
Oh, Shaun of the Dead. Yeah,
Shaun of the Dead.
Oh, yeah.
Classic forever. What did you think of our villain? I didn't even remember that it was Idris Elba until the very end.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I just didn't remember.
Oh, I knew, and I could tell. He was great. I mean, he's great in.
He can act the phone book and be fucking genius.
Absolutely, he can do anything, and
except James Bond, because that would be completely unheard of.
Yes, he's too street to be James Bond.
Oh God! You know who said They said that just because of the color of his skin.
Absolutely.
That's it.
Absolutely.
I'm like, really? So you taken a Harvard or Oxford educated Shakespearean actor, but if you want him to play James Bond and he's black, then it's street.
Yes.
Bullshit.
Racist.
Bullshit.
He got cast. He's playing Roland in The Dark Tower.
Yes, he is.
And with, thankfully, very little backlash. Like, there was some like, oh, he is mentioned as white, but
who gives a fuck?
For the most part,
I mean, if the gunslinger's whiteness was integral to the story, then yes, I would say
right.
Yes, cast a white person. But if it makes no difference whatsoever, who gives a fuck?
Right. And I was like,
cast a dog, cast an inanimate lamp if it fit.
I was like, wait a minute, you got one of the best actors in the world to play this role. Oh my God, I can't wait to see it. The moment I heard, I was like, I was fucking
see it
genius.
No matter what.
Oh, of course.
I don't care if they cast McConaughey as. Oh. No. Have you seen True Detective? You never saw it, did you?
No, I didn't. He can go either way.
McConaughey has chops. It's just some of the projects he's done in the past was just what Magic Mike.
But
okay.
he can. I think he can be a good Flag.
Oh no, he won an Oscar for Dallas Buyers Club.
No. I mean, he could be a good Flag because Flag is basically. Flag has got that kind of, I don't know. Flag works on that weird Texas-y thing.
Once you've seen True Detective, and you will,
yeah,
you have to see just season 1 because season 2 is a fucking nightmare. It's all new cast. It's like an anthology. It has no relation at all to the first one. After watching that, you'd be like, oh my God, I was looking forward to The Dark Tower. Now I am discernibly turgid for it because his character in that is just beyond amazing. So
but Idris Elba, I thought he was fantastic.
Now, answer me this. Okay, I'm a Starfleet guy. I crash on the planet and something happens.
That's here.
What makes him able to live for hundreds of years? Like, did I get infected with a space vampire disease?
All I could gather was he said they have some kind of technology, which is a wicked cop out in my opinion. It's like we're not going to explain what happened and why I can do this.
It's not a MacGuffin. It's and then just stops.
Yeah, exactly. It's nothing. And
I don't know.
His whole. The whole it's revenge against Starfleet for leaving me here kind of thing was a little
And of
weak.
course, all these other people, are those the crew members? Why are they like that?
Yeah.
It would have been nice if they had taken some random red shirt out of the holding pen, like, now you will serve me, and put him in the chamber and turn him into that. Like, now I get it.
Yeah.
This is the technology that turns them into this.
Maybe that's what it is. Maybe that's why he collects those ships and crews because
to turn them into soldiers.
To turn them into the drones that fly the
It
thing.
would have been nice
to explain that.
to have at least a little more in there. You know, I don't know what the runtime of the film was.
It was like 2 hours and 2 minutes.
Yeah,
like
once they cross that 2 hour mark, studios start getting a little bit
real
nervous.
twitchy, yeah.
You know, they would love to have it in and out in 90 because they can sell it to distributors as like, you can get an extra showing a day because we can run it front, you know.
Yep.
But sometimes a story needs to be told in 2 hours and 20 minutes.
Right, and I didn't find many spots that dragged in the movie at all. I didn't think there was much fat on it. That could be cut.
It kept clipping along nicely.
It was pretty tight.
I mean, that was what happened when Tarantino turned in Kill Bill. Miramax went, we got to cut this
3
down.
hours and 15 minutes long.
And he said, no, but why don't we do part 1 and part 2?
Yeah.
Like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
And that worked out real well.
Dip,
but that's Star Trek. That would never happen in a Star Trek film. No.
I mean, maybe. I mean, they might do a cliffhanger.
They're just not. They're not the existing narrative. I mean, they could. I suppose there's no law that says you may not do a 2-parter.
Right.
But that's just not
their thing.
The next Star Trek film is always predicated on the success of the previous one.
Yeah.
That's why The Next Generation could have gone on for another couple more films, but those last 2 were just so bad.
They were awful.
I mean, just
awful.
You know, the only good thing I can say about him is, you know, Patrick Stewart is a fucking great actor, and I'll watch him in anything.
Absolutely.
Other than that, it's like, you know, if they had done another one, I'd been like, I'll wait till the DVD. I just don't care to spend the money on it.
Right.
And I'm slowly getting that way with Star Trek. And it's like, I'll probably go see the next one because they're going to have to kill off Chekhov. They're not going to recast. They're not going to recast. However, I wonder if perhaps that new alien chick joining Starfleet might suddenly pop up and be on Enterprise. I guess this would be Enterprise B. Or maybe A.
I think it was A, yeah. Because that was 1701.
And then
this will be the A.
Dash A.
I think it did have A on the saucer.
So, and that was kind of cool at the end, how they did the time-lapse wraparound. It was like time-lapse bullet time. And I went, you know what? That's pretty nice. And one of the things I really enjoyed, when they went to warp, they took it as a steady shot from the front of, did you notice, of the, I guess, the nacelle in the center. Mm-hmm. So basically, the Enterprise stayed stationary and everything moved around it. I went, that is not something we've seen before. Right. I like that.
And there was a shot of the Enterprise in warp space, but it was like very, very small, and there was like a huge bubble around.
Oh yeah, exactly.
I like that a lot.
Yeah,
that was
they're showing warp speed in different ways. I'm like, okay,
yeah,
all right. It's not the same as like, you know, the FTL thing in Battlestar Galactica, or for the first time we see hyperspace like in Star Wars, although we did see it in Jedi because they popped out of hyperspace for the battle there. So that's, you know, it's okay. Mm-hmm. I just really wish we had more about, you know, the villain's transformation. We knew about Khan, you know.
Well, it was funny because
he was abandoned on the planet.
Yeah.
We know when he went through, he survived by doing this and that. Mm-hmm. You know, we got some narrative as part of his, you know, it built the character to where you're like, oh, yeah, I see why you're pissed at Kirk.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm not rooting for you, but I understand your anger. With this, it's like, I just don't like the Federation.
Yeah. You shouldn't work together.
Build of conflict.
Yeah. Like, I it was funny because about halfway through the film, after they had grabbed like one of the red shirts and he sucked the life out of him, I was like, does he look different? No, it's just because he's outside and we can actually see him now. But no, his face was different, and it did that through the middle. Still doesn't make a hell of a lot of sense how that would work.
It's almost like, hey, continuity girl, you forgot about this and this from this take. Oh God, we got to write that into the script. Have him suck some energy, and that'll explain why he looks different in this shot, and we'll just keep that, you know.
Yeah. Like you said, it would have been nice to find out why he was collecting people if his whole goal was, I guess it was to make drones so that they could take out Starfleet.
But sure would be nice to
say that.
I mean,
does he need them to eat them, the energy of them? It was way vague, his whole plan.
And I'm not a person that, like many, that demand every last detail of everything be spelled out with 100% certainty, but sometimes leaving too much to the imagination causes you to be a little confused.
It's a major problem in all these movies is like, why do they want to destroy the universe or the world?
Right.
And that's the whole...
If that's the crux of the conflict that is this film, which it is, you kind of want to really be sure of his motivations.
Yeah.
And maybe even like with Khan go, I understand why you're pissed.
Yeah.
Now, you were kind of a dick when you were on the Enterprise the first time, so I'm kind of on Kirk's side, but I understand where you're coming from.
When he dumped you on that planet?
Yeah, exactly. That was kind
of on you.
Well, that was on you, but Kirk didn't come back to check, and of course, I think he said something like the moon exploded or something, and turned it from a lush green planet to a barren desert.
Alpha 5.
From hell's heart, I strike at thee.
So we know some of Star Trek.
Right, yeah, just a little bit. Or some Shakespeare.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. On a scale of 1 to 10, I give it a soft 7.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it.
It was fun.
I'm not gonna buy the Blu-ray.
No.
Probably not gonna watch it again. But overall, I think some of the little tiny B plot lines that ran through the Uhura Nimoy Spock Uhura thing, I'm like, wow, that romance is still going in film 3.
Yeah, I mean that was such an interesting choice to do that, like to have them to get together, because that's brand new.
That's not something that happened in Timeline 1
at all. No,
and I think that was a nice touch.
Yeah,
I think that was a very nice touch. I very much support that,
and I really did like the whole Spock, all the Spock things. Like with him getting him finding getting the news about Spock dying, and then making that part of the film, and then having him have the box with the picture in it and all that stuff. That stuff was all really nice.
It was a good thing. I'm just glad they didn't try to shoehorn another OG cast member in here. I think we're done with that.
Yeah, well, they haven't in the rest of the series. No. It's only been,
they're slowly, unfortunately, passing away.
Yeah,
I mean, of
we're
course,
down 3.
Shatner will just live forever based on just his sheer determination to suck up as much adulation as possible.
Right,
and the internet will crumble without George Takei.
Yeah.
Seriously, he's like what, 73% of the internet?
Absolutely,
is him.
It's him and Cats is all.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Cat videos and Sulu.
Yeah, and I mean Walter Koenig's still running around, and Nichelle Nichols is still running around, and that's about.
You might think it's Cicely Tyson. It's not.
It's not.
It's Nichelle Nichols. That's right.
Who's a very sweet lady. But
first interracial kiss on television.
Yeah,
and of course she had to get that tongue sandwich from Bill Shatner.
Yeah.
She it's like, that's okay. Integration and civil rights can wait a couple of years. I'm not kissing that
motherfucker.
Like, sorry, Mr. King. Preach nonviolence somewhere else.
I heard an interview with her, and she said that she wanted to quit the first season after. And
Martin Luther King said, "We need you." Are you kidding me?
You're extremely important.
And he was absolutely right.
Absolutely,
because look what happened with the advancement of gay rights. You just put them on TV, and people go, "Oh, I feel like I know gay people now. They're not evil and horrible and trying to convert everyone to being gay. They're just people that love a little differently."
Yeah.
Okay, and that's I firmly believe that a good portion of America finally waking up and going, okay, because it's fear of the unknown.
Right.
And that's one of the things that Roddenberry pushed in the original one, and to some degree in Next Generation. Some of it wasn't quite as obvious as the guy that was half black, half white, and the guy that was half white, half black.
Yeah.
And I was like, really? Is there an allegory here? Are you trying to tell me something? I don't know.
Well, I mean, it was like, here, this is what I'm saying.
Right. Well, sometimes, I'll tell you, American audiences are both very intelligent and dumb as fuck all.
Yeah. And you need to give it literally in black and white.
Exactly. You need to dumb it down to Donald Trump acolyte 4th grade level. Like, I understand now.
Well, I going to what you just said, I really enjoyed the fact and the way they handled Sulu.
Yeah, they didn't even make it. Now they lingered a little.
I mean, they made a point of staying on the shot a little bit
on Kirk's face a little bit.
Yeah,
but it was more of like, not like, oh my god. It was more like, hey, there they are.
It's good for them. Yeah,
and it was very subtle. For those who are listening to this and will never watch Star Trek Beyond, they dock at a port and everyone's leaving, and Sulu meets up with his, I'm going to assume, husband and child.
Yes.
And they just put their arms around one another and walk off together like any normal family. Kirk sees it, and the whole thing takes, I'm going to go ahead and be conservative, at 20 seconds.
Maybe
even that.
Yeah.
And it just lets you know Sulu was gay.
Yeah.
And it changes absolutely nothing.
Absolutely nothing.
Does he kick any more or less ass? No. Exactly the same amount of ass that he kicked before.
Yep.
And does his job the same way before because, oh no, I can't get the things on. It's because you're gay, right? No, it's because the nacelles are down.
Yeah.
Are you sure it's not your gayness? Yes, Kirk. My gayness has nothing to do with a ship no go. You fuck.
Route some gayness to the warp core. Exactly. No.
Oh, I'm not that kind of gay. If you want the flaming gay, that's another episode.
Yeah, no, but that was handled really beautifully. And obviously, I mean, it was a nod to George Takei.
Who spat it back at us.
Yeah, he was not happy with it.
Well, because my guess is that he was trying to protect Gene Roddenberry's original vision.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like with Khan. I understand where you're coming from. I still don't agree with you.
Yeah, and that's a tough call because we're all for it for the right reasons, and he's against it for the right reasons.
For the right reasons.
So it's like, that's kind of a tough area. But I think, that's got to be a personal thing for him, and it was important to do that.
He's the original character. He's the one that worked with Roddenberry. None of these people worked with
Roddenberry. Well, his thing was, Sulu isn't gay and never was.
Right, so why make him now just because the actor who portrayed him is?
Yeah.
And I get that, but I think it's the more just mainstream, like, oh, they're gay, that you have on TV shows and stuff where it's like, oh, you're left-handed. Oh, you're gay. It's like, it's not the, I don't want to say norm. What do you call it? It's not the general percentage.
Yeah.
Like, like gay people are what, like 5%, 10% of the population?
Something like that.
Left-handed people. It's like, all right, more people are straight. Right. More
Yeah.
people are straight than gay. More people are right-handed than left-handed. And it makes no difference.
It just happens to be.
It does make a difference which hand I slap your fucking face with.
Yes, you're.
Whoops. My bitch slap is good with my left hand. It's as good as my right. I'm bislapsual. Because that's a word, and I invented it. Copyright 2016, me.
Yeah, and I mean, they said, well, yeah, we put this in because it adds to the inclusiveness of Roddenberry's universe.
You've got a large bridge crew. You cannot dive into everyone's backstory, present story, flesh everyone out to the degree you'd like to. This adds a little bit of there's a little bit on Sulu. We've already got a little heavy on. We've gone very heavy on Spock, Uhura, heavy as shit on Kirk. We've barely touched on Bones. We got a little bit of his talk in the first film in the shuttle about, my wife left me nothing but my bones. But for the most part, we don't got a lot of backstory on...
And honestly, come to think of it, I don't know if there is much backstory on...
Even in the original one?
Even in the original one. I don't recall much of
Maybe in the later films, perhaps? I don't know.
Not in the films. I know the films way more than I know the TV series.
Really?
But they never really delve into him.
Well, let's face it, television in the 60s was not about in-depth character development for the most part, unless it was, like The Twilight Zone. And, of course, then it's just an episode and it's good storytelling.
Yes.
So, yes, television writing has come a long way, and some cases has reversed in others. What
do you mean?
Well, back in the 60s, we had, things like Gunsmoke, and now we're having things like Mr. Robot and Breaking Bad. But we also have things like, reality television.
Oh, yeah.
So things have progressed with narrative and storytelling and what's possible, and have also, de-evolved, for lack of a better term, where it's like, remember that fourth grade education that everyone watches with? We're going to go ahead and write to fourth grade level. You know,
Yeah,
well,
yeah.
they did some study, and I'm going to be like Donald Trump. I'm hearing people are saying they did a study, and some of the popular sitcoms, and they don't use any 25-cent words. They hardly use 10-cent words.
Yeah.
It's 1 penny to 5 penny words, and that's it. Words that a fourth grader would understand. And if the audience is aimed at fourth graders, wonderful, mission accomplished. But if it's a primetime sitcom aimed at adults, it's like, no wonder we're getting stupider, for lack of a better term.
Yeah.
I'm sure if you analyze Donald Trump's speeches, you will also find that fourth grade.
Oh, yeah.
Although I'm going to do this bigly. Yeah, that's not a thing.
Yeah, he has the best words. He's told us that.
Yeah. Well, where are they? Are you keeping them under your mattress?
No, he has them.
Oh, he has them. He just doesn't want to use them.
Right, yeah.
He's saving them for when he's president? Right. Okay. Well, then I look forward to... Oh, God, no. Any other thoughts on Star Trek there?
Yeah. I mean, it was fun. It was fun, and, I... liked the inclusion of the quote unquote classical music.
Let's talk about that. Dear J.J. Abrams, who I think exec produced on this because it's a Bad Robot production. Did you notice that Alibaba has gotten in? Do you know what Alibaba is?
No.
It's like the eBay and Amazon of China. It's huge. The only reason anyone gives two shits about Yahoo in this country is because they bought in early as an investor in Alibaba. And it's like the most valuable country in all of probably Europe and Asia.
Huh.
It's, and all of a sudden they have a movie,
Well, I saw like 7 or...
I know.
5 different Dubai companies at the end of the movie. I was like, Dubai Film and Film Dubai. And this.
Well, they did filming there. But of course, if you film in Georgia, you get the Georgia Film Council and all this other stuff. But at the top of the film... a so-and-so production and a so-and-so production and another one. By the time they got to Bad Robot, it was like 5 or 6. I'm like, something tells me that because Into Darkness didn't do well, they had to take on a lot of investors and a lot of producing partners to get this made, because usually... you might do a co-pro, not a co.
Yeah, I mean, there's always different production companies listed, but I mean, that seemed like investors. It didn't seem like
20th Century Fox, Lucasfilm, and we're done.
Yeah.
This one was 5 different place cards,
at least,
and then we get to
Bad Robot.
So that's that was interesting.
Yeah. The music.
Yeah. Enough with the Beastie Boys. I'm done. I mean, don't get me wrong. Outside of Star Trek, I love me by my Beastie Boys. I listen to them often, and I love their stuff, But we get it. Beastie Boys. It's a callback to the first one. It's
JJ. I mean, it's his favorite band.
Well, that's why we have Elo Asti.
Yeah, and many other references.
I'm sure more that if you thought about it, like, oh, that's a reference to that B-side. Like, I get it.
Yep.
I would have much rather have had... There's 2 points where contemporary music was used. Of course, then they call it classical music.
Yeah.
Because from the point of 23... I don't know what the star date is.
20... Yeah,
it's a couple hundred years in the future.
Yeah.
So basically, the music we listen to now in 200 years might be considered, hey, it's the oldies from 100 years ago. Here's, Night Ranger.
Yeah, we listen to music from 200-300 years ago, yeah.
Well, keep in mind, we are still within, are we within 100? I think we're just inside the 100 years of rock and roll. Let me think. That would be 6. No, we're well over it then, because rock was started kicking ass, like early 50s?
Yeah.
So we're past the 100-year mark, and we're inside the rock and roll era.
75, 76.
Have you heard of Elvis Presley?
Yes. Have you heard of math? 1950 to 2016 is 76 years.
Oh, you're talking about 1970s. I thought, 70. Oh, math. Yes, of course. God damn it! No one told me there was going to be math.
No. I know what you mean.
But the rock and roll era
yes.
does not stretch back hundreds of years. It stretches back an indeterminate number of years because I cannot do math. So who's to say that we won't still be in the rock and roll era or popular music era? Because basically up until, World War II, roughly, music was for adults. There was no kids' music. That wasn't even for kids. I mean, there might have been a few things.
I mean, jazz kind of was.
But the baby boom of World War II produced a whole lot of kids and like, hey, I can make a buck, and, let's rip off the black people's music.
Exactly. The kids seem to like that.
Yeah, exactly. So in 200 years, yes, definitely. I could see Beastie Boys and the other act played in there, Public Enemy.
Yeah.
Now, I would have liked to have seen it switched when she puts in the music and it's Beastie Boys, but when they use the music to attack the swarm, that's more angry. That's more in your face.
Yeah,
that's just my thing, because there's too many quiet parts in Sabotage, which was used in the film, where it's like the drones could be like, oh, we're shaking it off. We're okay. We can kill some more, and then all of a sudden it kicks back. Yeah, I'm probably way overanalyzing it.
Yeah, but I get it.
But the Public Enemy is relentless. There's not like a break for like cool. It's like no, fuck you, boom, 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 boom.
My thing with that was that there was a show which I brought up before, called Space Above and Beyond, and they did kind of the same gag without it being they didn't use it as a weapon, but the one like misfit pilot had found an old an old disc or whatever was able to play it on, but it was the Ramones. It was, before the big battle, he put it on and like pumped it through all the rest of the fighters, and they went and blew up all of the bad guys. And I was like, that's cool.
I could kick some ass to the Ramones.
Absolutely.
So
I was like, it's been done before. But I thought that was cool. I thought that was a fun little thing to do, and it makes sense. It's like, here, JJ,
pop music.
Like us.
Pop music will kill thine enemy.
Yes,
something like that. Death by pop culture, and I fully support that. Now, we've already had a touch of, Beastie Boys, and I don't know if they used it in the second one, in Into Darkness.
I don't remember.
I don't remember that. They used it in the
I
first
don't think they
one.
did. What was in the first one? I don't remember.
It was Sabotage.
Was it Sabotage?
Same thing. Well, they're doing the callback, so Kirk could go, yeah, that's a good choice.
Is that what it was?
That's what he was listening to when he took the... was it the motorcycle or a car?
It was like a truck or something.
Or like
the first one.
Yeah. And he ditched it over the over the cliff. Right. And that was the song that played.
Right.
And he goes, I remember that. Like, yeah, we remember that too. And remember how much... Well, I'd like to make a suggestion if they do a fourth one.
Yes.
Which apparently they're going...
they are, yeah.
Which, okay, after seeing 6 title cards at the beginning of this one, I'm like, how many more people are you going to have to branch out to get financing?
Depends on how much this one does.
We'll see. Well, I'll have to check the box office on it. I would like to suggest that they pull out an old classic, and in the 4th Star Trek film, they go ahead and use...
Medication time. Medication time.
We ran out of time. I will tell you next week.
The 9 Billion Names of Pod was conceived, written, and performed by Michael Reed and Dan Bauman, with Abdul Benny Hassan as the sound of splintering wood. Research, transportation, and exasperated looks by Courtney Lohner. Technical assistance by Cubase, Pro Tools, Skynet, QLab, Deep Thought, Big Brother, and Eddie, your shipboard computer. Financial consideration provided by the Wayne Foundation, Stark Industries, the Brown Brothers, and LexCorp. Legal counsel by the offices of Howard and Fine. I'm giving it all she's got, Captain. I can't give it any more. That's not bad, right?
The nacelles, they're fucking gone. They're not even there.
Our intro music was written by Tim Akers. This podcast is sponsored by Deep Shag Records and is a production of Audio Primate. Throw us a couple stars on iTunes, why don't you? And check us out on dadsgarageradio.net. Listen, watch on YouTube. Listen on SoundCloud. Stream us on Stitcher. Like us on Facebook. Follow us on Twitter. Or email us, comlink@billionpod.com. Until this happens again, I'm Dan Bauman.
I'm Michael Reed.
Allons-y.
Audio Primate.